Hi, my name is Noma. Welcome to Noma's Designer Diaries. This is another podcast episode where I'll be sharing with you what I'm working on and the stuff that I've finished and a couple of things that are in the pipeline. So today I'm so excited because for the first time I'm doing a podcast where I've only got very few items on my needles and a couple of things that I've finished. Reason being, I made a resolution to just work on 2 items at a time, particularly for the summer season, because it moves so fast, and if you're not careful you'll be left with sleeveless tops beginning of September, and then I'll have to push them to launch next year. And one thing I've noticed that's a bit of a struggle for me is that if I'm excited about something now, it doesn't mean that I'll be happy about it next year. But the biggest challenge is that whenever I'm excited about something, I get the yarn for that project. So by the time we get to next summer, for instance, I may not even be excited about that project, then I'm forced to think of something else to do with that yarn, and that can be quite stressful. So now I try by all means to work on very few items and finish everything so that I'm not stuck with yarn that I don't have any idea of what to do with it. So as I've mentioned before, I don't have a stash. I don't just buy yarn. I do have a lot of yarn, of course, because I do a lot of designing, but I don't buy yarn because it looks cute. I only buy it because I've got a specific project in mind. So when I lose interest in that specific project, it becomes a problem finding something else to do with that particular yarn. Hence my reluctance to just buy yarn because it looks beautiful and I like it. But anyway, let's get on with what I want to talk about today. We'll start off with what I am wearing. So I'm wearing the Mpho Pullover. This was launched in 2020, I think, because it came out in the book Knit with Attitude, and it was a Knit with Attitude. It was a 10-year celebratory collection for the Knit with Attitude shop. I contributed one of the patterns, which is the Mpho Pullover. It's got a lot of lovely patterns, and now this pullover is of course available as an individual pattern in my Ravelry store and on Etsy. So I knit this from the bottom up. I don't normally do that, but I did this one from the bottom up, separated, did the shoulders. It was kind of simple, and did a 3-needle bind off on the shoulders. The sleeves are worked from the top down. I wanted stockinette sleeves so that the cable pattern would pop. Sometimes having a cabled body and cabled sleeves looks too busy, and with this type of pattern, since I wanted the cables to be like all over, I decided to go for a stockinette sleeves for this. The yarn I used for this pattern was from Kettle yarn, and I think it's called Islington. I don't remember the color, or the name of the color is Islington. Okay, just give me a second, let me see if I can find it. But it's a beautiful yarn, and when you're knitting with it, it feels like rope, which is quite interesting, really. It feels like you're knitting with some rope instead of just yarn, and that's not in a bad way. Also, it's Kettle Yarn Company, and it's Islington DK. The color is Blighty. So anyways, it feels like this rope because it's got some silk content as well. It's a very beautiful yarn. It doesn't peel at all, considering that I've had this for about 5 years or so, and it still looks in a good condition. I've never de-peeled it before, so that's just how good the yarn quality is. It's been discontinued though, and there's another one. I think I don't remember the name of the yarn that they've used to substitute this one, but it's also a very good quality yarn, I suppose, because when I spoke to the owner some time back, she said that one was an even better version of Islington, so it's probably gonna work just as well. I love the yarn, and I love the quality, and I love the fact that it's so durable. I've got a skein or 2 left, and I'm thinking of using that to knit a pair of socks because I think they'll really last for a long time, some DK weight socks. So I might have them coming up one of these months as soon as we get to the winter collection. So for those who do not know, I live in South Africa. We're in the southern hemisphere right now. We're in winter. It's kind of very chilly, but I design based on the northern hemisphere because most of the people that knit my patterns are in the northern hemisphere. So when I do my designs, I focus mainly on the northern hemisphere seasons instead of our own here in South Africa. Something that I launched. So I'll link this pullover in the description box below. And then something that I'm launching today as I'm recording this video. So by the time you see the video, this will also be available on Ravelry and on Etsy. So this is the Bina Shawl. Let me hold it up. And I started working on this shawl some time back and I put it aside because I was starting on the summer items. But I picked it up again when Brooklyn Tweed announced that they were discontinuing their yarn, because I just wanted to design one last thing with their yarn, and then hopefully people who still have the yarn or those that managed to buy it can actually knit something new out of it. But it's easy to substitute. You can use any yarn. So this is Mpho Sport by Brooklyn Tweed. It's a sport weight yarn, of course, and I'm really sad to see the end of that era. I've never designed with shelter, and I was hoping to do a coat, like a cabled floor length coat one day with yarn, and I never got to do that. So I'm really sad about it, but I'm just hoping that there'll be some other good stuff coming up, something new in the knitting industry, so we can have some other substitutes for the yarn. So this is Warbler, the main color, which I used for the edging, and the contrast color is Crepe. It's a beautiful off-white that has got some very light speckles. Some of them are a bit reddish, and some I don't know, they're a bit reddish mainly. One thing I love about this yarn is that it's got this heathered look to it, but it's literally the softest. So mostly when you're thinking of heathered yarns, they've got this crunchiness to them. They look, you know, very rustic and everything, but they are harder on the skin and can be quite itchy. But this is not itchy at all. It's got the heathered look without the itch. So I love that about this yarn. And as you can see, it's a shawl. I was wearing this last Saturday right directly on my skin, and I didn't feel any itchiness on it. So it's worked from tip to tip. You start from one end, do some increases, and then you work decreases from the center here to the other end. So all that is written in the pattern on weighing your yarn and making sure that you've got enough to get to the other tip. So for this contrast color, I used only 50 grams, which is one skein, because the Mpho Sport skeins are 50 gram skeins. I used only one. And then for the main color, I also used one, but I was left with like a meter of yarn, so it might be safer to have two of these. But this particular scarf, it's only 100 grams, 50 grams of the main color and 50 grams of the contrast color, and it's worked on 3.75 millimeter needles, and then the edging is worked on 3.25. I did double knitted edging because I didn't want to do, you know, an I-cord one. It was going to be too thin. I wanted something that's thicker and that will give it, you know, a store-bought look. I would love to do this in black and white as well, but I don't think I'll have the time this year. But maybe for next winter it will be nice to have a bigger one in black and white. So when I was doing the increases and the decreases, I made sure that I did them right at the edge, and that's also clearing the pattern, so that when you're picking up stitches, there isn't another line that runs through the work, or there are no holes that form in the work. So it's very tight and neat, and I really love that. It's a much simpler pattern, something that will be great to knit if you're going on a holiday or if you're flying somewhere and you're going to be on a long flight. It's very easy, simple, quick. It's going to be on Ravelry as soon as I'm done with this video. I'll be launching the pattern, so you can enjoy a coupon code. Since I'm launching it today and I'm recording here, I might as well share this code with you. I only share the codes with my newsletter subscribers, and the code is JOY20. So you're going to use the code JOY20 to get 20% off this show. So I've got 2 finished items and 2 works in progress. That's how simple my knitting life is these days. The first one is the Namhla top. I'm so proud of this one and I love it. I'll put some photos just in case you can't see all of it. So when I started designing this pattern, I wanted something that's a bit on the dressy side, something you can put on even if you're wearing jeans or you're wearing slacks or some linen pants. It looks kind of dressy and not just a plain t-shirt, because sometimes when we're knitting summer stuff it can get quite plain. So I wanted to do something a bit dressy. So it starts here at the back neck and increases are worked all the way to the little bitty sleeves here, and then of course it's worked from the top down all the way, and here on the underarms you do a bind off before joining in the round, so that this section is left out here. So this is the only part that gets seamed with what's that seaming technique, with mattress stitch. Yeah, that's the one that I used. And here I did this edging that's folded over and it's also seamed underneath so that it doesn't keep flipping on and off. And the neckline is also stockinette stitch, and the hem is folded over and sewn down with some whip stitch. It's nice and simple. So there's no ribbing on this top. It's a very simple one, and it feels kind of heavy-ish because it's cotton. So I was using 100% cotton Purl by Purl Soho. So it's 100% organic cotton, and the colors are brown date and heirloom white. So as I've mentioned in the past, all my Purl Soho yarn is sponsored. I didn't pay for it myself. This is coming out in July. These patterns are currently undergoing testing, and then this one is also done except for my neck edging here that I'm going to do on video. So I've got this dangling over here, but basically the top is done. This is the Lerato top. It's also being tested and it's coming out I think around the 20th of July. It's also worked from the top down. It's a much simpler one, and the interesting element here is the slip stitch pattern that gives it some fun and interest. I wanted to do some different technique that I don't normally do on summer tops, and I decided to do the slip stitch pattern, and you also find it at the bottom, and some twisted ribbing for the hem, neckband and the sleeves. So it's a very straightforward one. So for this one I was using Nurturing Fibres Eco Cotton in the color charcoal, and the slip stitch is done in the color mist. It's a very light gray. It almost looks white, but it's a very light gray. I love this top, and it's so relaxed and fits well. I'll be taking some photos and we'll probably share how it looks like in the next few days, maybe early next week on my Instagram. As I mentioned earlier, I think I said it's coming around the 20th, and I love it. I can't wait for summer. It's so cold over here, so I won't be wearing any of this anytime soon, but I can't wait for us to get into summer. So this yarn is one of my favorite summer yarns because it feels so cool to the touch. Even in the summer when you're wearing a garment that's knitted with this, it is so cool when you're touching it, and when you're wearing it, it's very cool on the skin as well. So these are the finished projects that I've got this week. I'm working on 2 items. Like I said, only 2 items at a time. If I finish one item, then I cast on the next project, but there's always only 2 projects on my needles, and I'm hoping I'll keep up with that. And one of the reasons why I decided to go that way is because I noticed that sometimes it will take months to work on a project, and I'll keep coming back, particularly when you're recording videos. That's when you notice that you have been showing the same thing for months, and it gets pretty annoying to me that I'm still showing this. So I want to work on projects, finish them, get them out, and move on to the next thing, because mostly you end up having 5 or 6 items that are barely making any progress, and it's not so much fun. So I'm trying to move away from that and just have fewer items, so that when I finish something I can easily cast on the next thing and just keep the ball rolling. So this is the new one. This is I've given this a name. Oh, it's the Phila top. So the name Phila means to live. It's in Zulu. So it's a very basic name, but when you give it to somebody as a name, it goes beyond just living. It's more about maximizing every opportunity, living your life, having fun. So when I was thinking of this design, I was looking at something that you can wear when you're going to work, when you're going out with friends, but something that's, even though it's a sleeveless top, it's going to be something that's dressy, something you can put on and feel good about yourself. And that's why I called it Phila. So I'm only left with some ripping here for the armholes, then it's done. It's going to be sleeveless, and then I have to work the body. Of course, I used this simple eyelet pattern because I was looking for something really simple, and I was thinking about, how nice it would be to wear a top like this with a satin or linen, no, not linen, silk top underneath that's shiny and pretty, and something that really makes you feel good when you're wearing it. So I made the neckline a bit higher. With most of my summer tops, I make a lower and a more scooped neckline, but because I was thinking this is something that you can actually wear to work. So I've never worked, I used to work in the corporate space before I started designing and everything. So I've never worked in a place where dress code was so formal. Mostly we could wear whatever as long as it wasn't really, your camisoles or other more revealing items. So with a top like this that's got a higher neckline, I wanted something that I would have been able to wear to work if I was still working in the corporate space. So the sleeves are not, so they're not set in so that they shape this way. They are more of drop sleeves, so there's a lot of coverage even on the shoulders. So your shoulders are not going to be bare if that's something that would be a concern. And the eyelets are nicely spaced and they're a bit few. I didn't want to make them too close. So this is a very general pattern that you will find on any pattern book, but mostly the eyelets are much closer. So I wanted to give it a more contemporary finish, and I spaced them out so that it looks more modern and much more elegant. So I've done this on the neckline, if you can see. Let me bring this closer. I've done this crochet edging, which is what I'm going to be recording a video on. That's why the neckline on this one was still incomplete. I'll be recording a video showing how I do this crochet edging on the neckline to give it a very neat finish, so you don't see the pickup line for your stitches. And what else? Yeah, so I just need to work on the body now. That's all that I have to do. And the edging here, I think I'll work on this tomorrow night on the sleeve edgings, and then I'll just focus on the body for the next few days. And most likely I'll make it a bit long, and not like crazy long, but maybe 16 or 17 inches, so that if you want to fold it at the bottom and hide the ribbing, you can do that. I was thinking of doing a folded hem, but I might just stick to the ribbing as I've done with the neckline and the armholes. I'll see which one will work best when I get to the bottom of the top. So the second top that I'm working on is the other sleeveless item that I've got on my needles. So I've only just started this one. I've just got a few rows to do before I do the armhole shaping. So this one is going to have that satin sleeve shaping, but the edging is going to be an I-cord edge. So once I'm done and I've joined to both back and the front, I'll probably do the armhole, so that the next time you see this, there'll be an armhole edging, which is going to be I-cord. So this is how it looks like. It's also started here, and then you increase stitches along this line to shape the back. And I've now got all the stitches. Now I have to do the armhole shaping. So this one is going to be, is called the Gugulethu top, because it's inspired by my Gugulethu shirt pattern that I launched I think 2 months ago. These needles are so annoying. I'm trying to figure out a way to stop them wrapping on the table. So I'm using Nurturing Fibres Eco Cotton in this DK weight again, and this color is Karoo Lens. It's a beautiful brown, and I'm using 2 balls. I'm alternating 2 balls because this is what happens. I've made some mistakes with this yarn by just working with one ball at a time and hoping for the best, and it's always shown. So I'm not doing that anymore. These days I alternate. Even with this top, I was alternating the balls of yarn all throughout the project, and it blended nicely and it looks good. So I'm not taking any chances anymore. So this is what I'm working on now. So this is going to have a collar, some double knitted button band, and a folded hem. It's going to be a dressy top as well. So these are the only 2 sleeveless tops in this collection. I think I've mentioned it before that this year my plan was to do short sleeves and mainly 3/4 or long sleeve tops, because I noticed that I don't wear the sleeveless tops that often. As you know, when you're indoors in most places, there's the air conditioning and it gets a bit chilly. So as much as I knit the sleeveless tops, which is what I've focused on most years, just knitting sleeveless items, whenever I think summer knitting, I would go for the sleeveless. But I noticed that sometimes you need the long sleeves, the 3/4 sleeves. You need every length of sleeve really for summer knits, particularly if you live in our climate here. And I think in most climates, you don't necessarily need to just wear only sleeveless items. I was keeping track of everything I was wearing last year so that I could plan my projects really carefully and with all the right tools that I needed to plan this collection. And I noticed that, you know, in the summer I still wear normal things. It's not like when it gets hot I just ditch everything and wear the strapless, sleeveless dresses or tops. I still wear my normal t-shirts. I still wear some long sleeved button down shirts. I still wear some long sleeved tops. It's not like every summer day is going to be a heat wave, but some days, particularly in our climate, it gets rainy. Actually, we get the rains in the summer, so it's not just some days. Most of the rain that we get in our climate is in the summer, because that's when our climate is like this. In the summer, it's hot and wet, and the winter is cold and dry. We rarely get any rain in the winter. So the summer is our rainy time, and as you all know, when it gets rainy, it gets chilly, but it doesn't necessarily get so cold that you need something this thick. So I've got some long sleeved cotton tops and some, I launched one, I think 2 weeks ago, the Mpho Pullover. It's a long sleeved 100% cotton pullover, and it works very well for this type of weather. And I'm excited to be sharing with you all the other items that I have in mind, some 3/4 sleeves tops, and I've got 2 button down shirts. One is going to be worked in this yarn. This is what's this yarn? Oh, it's Purl Soho cotton pure, and it's heirloom white. And I'm also going to knit another one in the pink yarn that I've used for the Zukanye dress. I'll do another shirt in that one as well, because I've got enough leftovers, I think. So I've got some really exciting items coming up, and the good thing is that even if they spill over and launch in September, they're still relevant for the early fall as well, so it will work out just fine. So once I'm done with these 2 tops, I've got 2 items coming up. There were some t-shirts. Last time when I recorded, I had spoken about 2 other items I was going to work on, but they are short sleeve t-shirts. Unfortunately, I noticed that I won't have enough time to launch them in the summer. They'll take so much time. I'll only be done probably knitting them maybe towards the end of July, and then by then I'll have to test them until the end of August and launch them maybe early September, which will make sense. But with long sleeve tops, I can launch them anytime, even up to October, and they'll still be fine. So the next items that are going to be on my needles is a lace hoodie. I'm going to be working on a lace hoodie, and I'm excited about it. It's something to throw over really, not necessarily for warmth, but more of as an accessory and something to dress up and, you know, accessorize an outfit. You can wear it, you know, as a cover, but I don't think if you're looking for warmth, that's the item to wear. It's just something to dress up in and make you look good. So I'm going to be knitting it in this color cocoa. So it's still eco cotton nurturing fibers. And then the other item that I'll be knitting is a long sleeved, not long sleeved, 3/4 sleeved linen top. This is the yarn is Soho Blackbird linen. and the color is bottle green. I had started working on this from the bottom up, and I was not enjoying the process. I hated it, honestly. So I did a poll and I asked you if you would rather work on this bottom up in pieces like this, bottom up in the round, or top down, and literally over 80%, I think it was 85 or 86%, said they wanted to work on this top down, and only 4% wanted to work on this top bottom up, and about what's the difference, maybe 10 or 9% of the people said they wanted to work on it bottom up in the round. So clearly it will be impractical for me to work on this from the bottom up and have no one knitting it. It's actually nice when you're designing something to have people actually wanting to knit your projects. So I'll be working on this from the top down. I think as soon as I bind off one of the tops, I'll immediately cast on this one. I'll just have to unravel this little bit that I've done here, and then what else? When I'm done with the second top, then I'll cast on this one. So I'll just be having 2 projects at a time. Something gets cast off, I start on the new project, and I hope I really stick to this, because there's always the temptation to cast something new. So that's all that I had to share today. I hope you enjoyed this video. The next video I'll be doing next week will be showing you how to do the neckline edgings with the using the surface crochet method. So I'm sure you're gonna like that. If you're interested, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss that upcoming video and many more that I have in store for you. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.